Hello, welcome to another briefing. Today I wanted to talk about the much needed, much awaited cool down. This isn't a significant fall-like or winter-like cool down, but this will be a nice relief from the intense, extreme summer heat that we've had across areas away from the coast in the western states for the last month or so, for much of the last month. And so I wanted to start out here showing the 500 millibar chart, which is 500 millibar heights and height anomalies. And what that means is this is basically taking a snapshot of how much pressure there is in the atmosphere at 18,000 feet, how much pressure it is pressing down from 18,000 feet down to the surface, and the anomaly of that thickness of the atmosphere. So when you see blue shaded colors, the deeper the blue, the lower, the more negative the anomaly is, which means you have below average heights, which means that's usually associated with low pressure systems like this one. It also carves out what we call a trough in the jet stream. This big trough here, which allows cooler air to move down from the polar regions, and it also allows the marine layer to that cold layer of air along the coast to deepen and push further inland as these low pressure systems move through. In the winter time, when these things are stronger and more dynamic and there's more of a moisture tap, they can generate strong winter storms. But this time of year, there's not a lot of dynamic associated with them, and they're not very powerful. So what they usually do is deepen the marine layer and bring cooling to inland areas, which is much needed this week. So as you look at this, we have this cutoff. Well, not cutoff. It's not a cutoff because it's attached to this flow of the jet stream. So, but we have a little low pressure center over here, right off of the coast of California. This is the computer model projection from the GFS for 2 p.m. this afternoon, and you see how close this upper low here is with these height anomalies. This is going to make for a much cooler day across the Bay Area today. If I show you the temperatures, one moment. This is wind. I'm going to show you the temperatures real quick. This is for... Oh, okay. So this is for 2 p.m. today. You see much cooler air. Livermore had been in the hundreds until recently, just 84 today. Novato only 78, Petaluma 74, Santa Rosa 82, Healdsburg 86. Santa Rosa and Healdsburg had been in the hundreds many times this month. So this is much needed relief for some of these inland areas. Coastal areas, some areas not getting out of the 50s, as you see this 58 in Half Moon Bay here. A lot of 50s in the northern Point Reyes Peninsula, Bodega Bay area. So this trough will be keeping things much cooler. And as we go into, this is overnight into tomorrow morning, you see lots of 50s, even some upper 40s in the coldest inland valleys. And then you go into tomorrow afternoon. Look at this. This is basically our high temperature snapshot tomorrow, with warmest inland locations only in the low 70s. Widespread 50s and 60s coast and bayside. This is going to feel really nice. This is much needed relief, and the reason why we're going to have such significant cooling today and even more pronounced cooling tomorrow is this cutoff. Not cutoff. I keep calling it a cutoff because it's really small, but it's a low pressure center associated with a trough. Cutoff is when it cuts off from the main flow of the jet stream. So apologies, I just keep calling it a cutoff because it looks like one when you look at it, because it's really small. It's not like those massive winter ones, but this is strong enough to knock down temperature. It'll deepen the marine layer significantly, and it'll knock down temperatures. We'll have below average temperatures all the way through inland areas. I put this into motion into tomorrow. This is tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can see, this is why tomorrow is even cooler. The anomaly is even more negative for the heights. We have even lower heights here. As the core of the trough is just passing to the east. Tomorrow should be the coolest day. And then we start to warm up again as we go into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But still plenty of time to discuss that. We might have another pretty intense warm-up at the end of next week, but I'm not going to get too much into that today. I wanted to show you next the temperatures this is the temperature anomaly at 5,000 feet. This is for 2 p.m. today, and you can clearly see that pocket, that cooler air mass that's making its way down from the Pacific Northwest. It has arrived there earlier this week and has been bringing much needed relief to areas like Seattle and Portland, and now we have that air mass making its way down to California, and you see by 2 p.m. today we start to have negative temperature anomalies at 5,000 feet, something I believe we haven't had in California for several weeks at this point, as we've been under just an intense blob of hot air for most of July. That's just kind of progressed. It's shifted positions, but has stayed mostly stationary over the western U.S. most of July 2024. So finally we have some cooler air breaking that heat dome, at least for a bit. Look at this. Look at these anomalies. This is up to 7 degrees. This isn't as significant as some winter systems, but still, this is almost 10 degrees Celsius below what is normal at 5,000 feet. So this is a significant cooler air mass for this time of year. Hence, only 70s for inland Bay Area locations, only 80s for parts of the Central Valley, which is below average. Significantly below average. Parts of the Southern California deserts might even not hit 100 degrees or just barely hit 100 degrees, which is, even though it's still hot, it's below average for them. So definitely enjoy this cool down while it lasts as we scroll into Sunday here. And then Monday looks like it's gonna stay below average for quite a bit, but then look at this. Wednesday, just like that, it starts heating up again. This is a preview of what might come. But as you go more than 5 days out with these computer models, it becomes they become a little less reliable because you have more variables and more time for those variables to change. Because the computer model is basically taking a snapshot of the atmosphere today, or at the time it runs. See, this is the 6Z run from this morning, which starts at 11 p.m. Pacific last night. Takes a snapshot of of the conditions at that time as it best understands them, and then it makes a projection for this computer model, the GFS, goes out 16 days on the deterministic run. And what the deterministic run does is it takes a snapshot of the conditions as it best understands them, and based on that, it runs algorithms and formulas and projects what it believes will happen over the next 16 days based on that data. In recent years, it has shown to be pretty reliable in the 3 to 5 day window, but after that, it gets less reliable because you have more that can change. Like any little change in the wind direction or the positioning of a trough, like if this blob of cold air is just slightly to the east, for example, that'll change the forecast for like an entire region. So as we go further out in time, there are more variables that can change, which is why the computer models tend to be less reliable the further out you go. Anyways, that's almost all I have for this video. I just wanted to show, for anyone that's interested, the basically the weather radar projection, which is trying to estimate where we'll have rain showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. So this is for this afternoon. As I put this into motion, you see a lot of activity in the Rockies, particularly the Front Range of the Rockies, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Wyoming, into the Dakotas even. You have really strong thunderstorms expected to develop this afternoon, as we have a trough carving out over the west coast here, as I showed earlier on this other map. This trough here is going to cause a lot of lift ahead of it, so that warm, moist air coming from the south lifts over the Rocky Mountains, and we have massive thunderstorms like these. Hard to pinpoint exactly where these thunderstorms are going to fall. The computer models are not very accurate at that. But do expect thunderstorms in the mountains if you are in these areas near the Rocky Mountains, particularly New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, and also Wyoming, parts of Idaho, and Nevada maybe as well. Do keep your eyes on the sky and watch out for those thunderstorms. Take shelter when needed. Now if we go into tomorrow, similar situation, same areas, big thunderstorms in the afternoon, might be even a little bit stronger tomorrow. So keep your eyes on the sky, keep your eyes out for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.